The Frierdiker Rebbe relates, in the time of the Tzemach Tzedek, there was a simple Jew, his name was Eliezer Moishe. As a child of 7 or 8 years old, so he was kidnapped, snatched, and again, as you know, unfortunately, we're not going into detail, but because the government had placed quotas on how many children had to be drafted from certain areas, and this gave rise to Jewish thugs. Jewish thugs that would, you send your kid off to school and went to cheder, and there was the danger of being, they were called chappers, literally in Yiddish, grabbers, and grab the children, and they would get paid for it.
Trafficking.
Huh?
Trafficking.
Yeah, yeah. It also the previous story that people that were rich could buy off the authorities. Poor children generally were the ones who were most prey to this. It was a very terrible time. At any rate, so he was this Eliezer Moishe. He had been at 7, 8 years old. He had been kidnapped, snatched, and says the Frierdiker Rebbe says that despite terrible, they endured Yisurim Hamorim Bakoshim, which means bitter and difficult suffering. He remained strong in his Yiddishkeit. A 7, 8-year-old child, you understand what this means? He was a simple Jew. Eventually, we're talking decades later, they had to work 25 years in the army. And that only started that was at age 25, from 25 to 50. So it looks like he's now 50 years old. So he's finally released from service, and he lived in the city of Babinovich. No, so this is during his soldier. He's now a soldier, and he's serving, and he was stationed in Hummel. And there, part of other soldiers as well, the garrison was there. And from time to time, he would enter the Beis Medrash to participate in the Shir Torah. This is during his soldier years. Listening to Chumash, the Shir, Chumash, Nach, Mishnayis. He would even hear Chassidus. And what was his job? His job was, he was the guard of the Machsanim, means the place where they stored ammunition, etc. So when he was standing on guard, even though he was a simple Jew, he used to have this expression, Shchinte begalusa vai. The Shechina is in exile, woe, that the Shechina is in exile. And the Tzemach Tzedek, so this is happening in Babinovich. The Tzemach Tzedek is sitting in Lubavitch, and he hears, not physically, but he hears the sigh of Rabbi Eliezer Moishe, woe, the Shechina is in Golus. And the Tzemach Tzedek said, when the Shpoler Zayda, the famous Shpoler Zayda, we'll talk about him one day. So the Shpoler Zayda put the gartel on Rabbi Yisrael Ruzhine as a child. When he took him to Cheder, it's a story in its own right. So the Shpoler Zayda said about the Ruzhine, Rabbi Yisrael Ruzhine, that he is putting a gartel on a Sefer Torah. And anyone who, so said the Tzemach Tzedek, anyone who touches this Eliezer Moishe should know he's touching a Sefer Torah. And when this Eliezer Moishe would come to Lubavitch and walk by the Tzemach Tzedek would stand up on his feet for him. The Frierdiker Rebbe concluded, from this story we can see, this is the Maimon is beginning with the Chudash HaMachat. Here we can see the Maila of Avodah B'Poel, of actual Avodah, even of the simple, or maybe not even, but maybe especially of the simplest Jew.